some help, and we need to be better caretakers.
Mike wanted me to make sure I pass this along to you. Five Rivers Metro Parks has great classes to help you get started on the simple things connected to recycling and sustainability. Now, this is where I'm asking for your help, folks. If you know somebody making a difference, I'd love to hear from you. Just send me a note on Facebook. You can email me as well at james.brown@whiotv.com.
For months now, we've talked about devastating wildfires burning out west. Dry conditions and gusty winds have fanned the flames earlier this week just west of Denver, causing national parks to close down, believe it or not. And unfortunately, James, I know this hits very close to home for you.
Yeah, I grew up in Loveland, which is about 50 miles north of Denver, right at the base of the foothills here. You can see we put two arrows for you. I want you to watch this time lapse from the other night. Pay attention to those arrows. Now, the fire started northwest of Loveland, folks, in August. Snow hit. That only slowed the fire down last month. Then last week, 70-mile-an-hour winds blew up this fire again. The fire is now blackened more than 200,000 acres, the worst in Colorado history. Now, where this camera sits is at Loveland Lake. My childhood home was less than 8 miles away, right where that red arrow is.
Wow.
The blue arrow, McCall, right where my wife's childhood home was in the foothills. Now, best I can tell from talking with relatives just a couple hours ago, those homes they think are still standing. But a bit of encouraging news as well. This fire now about 60% contained, but they said that more than a month ago. And McCall, you know, you're talking about it being so dry, but again, that time lapse right there showed the winds whip up.
Yeah.
And to look at that, and I mean, I swam in that water, I fished in that water right there at Loveland Lake, but to see so many homes and buildings damaged and destroyed, at least 50 or 60 at a very conservative count at this point.
And for those of us that obviously don't live out that way, if you're a transplant of any sort, I know if I were to see something devastating near the childhood home that I had, that it would really make me feel a lot of emotions. So I feel for you, James. And the reason, as we mentioned, that those fires have just been ravaging the western part of the United States is because of the extreme drought that's out that way. Here's the U.S. Drought Monitor, and you can see the yellow and red shading. When you get into the high plains, this is where we're seeing a lot of that dry conditions that are in place. And this is western Colorado, where it's being considered extreme or exceptional drought. So with minimal amounts of rain and dry conditions and those gusty winds, any little flame can be ignited quickly, and those fires can be sustained for days upon weeks and even months now, as we've been talking about. What they do need is rain, and we've had it here locally. Let's take a look at our live Doppler 7 radar, and you can see those showers continue to be pushing across the northern Miami Valley. We may see a few of those skimming in as we head into the rest of our overnight hours, and I'll be monitoring that for the rest of tonight. But when we look at our extended forecast, you're going to see that we have just the chances for those showers early on. I'll take you in close just very quickly here, and you'll notice up towards Van Wert and Muncie, Indiana, is where most of that rain is located. When we look at let me head over to the 5-day forecast. It looks like my graphics are a little bit frozen, but as I mentioned, we will have some patchy fog early tomorrow and then a dry day tomorrow. Here is that 5-day forecast for you. Upper 70s for your Thursday, late day thunderstorms Friday, and then a wet weekend ahead in the 50s and 60s.
Thank you, McCall. With so many families